I had an unwanted pregnancy at 16 weeks, and while I have a TikTok talking all about this to anyone who wants to listen to it on the internet, in my real life, there's a lot of people that don't know. There's very few opportunities where you can sit down with someone and feel comfortable enough sharing something like that, because you never know how someone else is going to respond, right? I want to talk about this thing that I've noticed when I choose vulnerability in my real life, not on TikTok, but in like my real life. A couple days ago, I had an opportunity to kind of sit and chat with my neighbor, longer than like I'm walking my dog and I see her and her kids and we say, hi, how are you? And then, move along with our lives. And we were chatting about just sort of like family planning and family composition and like ages between each kid and all of that. And so it was germane to the conversation, but I had said, basically I wanted a child a certain distance away from my living child. And we were well past that. And I revealed to her, there was a moment where I was just like, should I be vulnerable? And I was like, you know what? I feel comfortable sharing this with this woman. I think she's a safe person to share this with. And I told her that I had suffered 3 pregnancy losses in the last 12 months. And one of which was 16 weeks. And I saw her kind of take a deep breath in, and she looked at me and she said very shakily, I recently had a miscarriage at 18 weeks, but I didn't find out until 22 weeks. And so it started this conversation. And so, I revealed a lot more about kind of my situation and kind of heard hers. And, it's this moment where like you see so many people coming in and out of your life, just an everyday occurrence. And you have no idea how much pain they're in. And she kind of reflected that back to me. Like, I had no idea you're in so much pain. And I obviously said the same thing to her. And it can just be so relieving to A, be able to show up with courage and vulnerability, and B, be seen. And how often are we doing that? And yes, we need to make sure that the person we're letting ourselves be vulnerable to is a safe person. And that can be like hard to figure out, but it's amazing how many of us are walking this earth like in so much pain. And especially women my age who have experienced like very traumatic loss, specifically pregnancy loss. And, I always felt so alone. And it's so wild to think like literally a woman a few houses down has an idea of how much pain I'm in. And likewise, right? I had a similar experience with another neighbor in a different part of my neighborhood where we chatted, and yeah, like we're not alone. And sometimes it can feel very empowering, and it can also feel not so like isolating when we can share with people how much pain we're in and what we're experiencing, and then finding out that we're literally not alone. And it's far more common than we're even able to conceptualize.